Hey, what's up, everybody? How's it going? Jeff Nader here for the sit down. We're here on YouTube, hanging out, trying to get my subscriber list up. Trying to do more content on YouTube. It's just not something I use that much. I'm so used to Twitter and the iTunes platform, which is where we put our show out every week. And I see some guys doing the shows on YouTube, and I'm trying to kind of grow my thing there because I want to do stuff like this where I can come on and just bullshit about stuff. And I go on with Sicilian and with other people, but I felt like for a couple of minutes I come on, maybe see if we can't get a couple of people in here and try to build this thing on YouTube. Just finished recording our show for this week. Tony Ducks Corallo. It's a great show, some great information. There's not a lot of info out there on Tony, but I thought we did a really good show, and you can expect that on Wednesday. So make sure if you enjoy the podcast, you go check that out. There's no one that talks like the mob really like us, outside of maybe one or two guys. And, you know, if you want to know those guys, I can tell you who they are. But um, so, yeah, just thought I'd come on here and bullshit for a little bit, really kind of talk about some things. And one of the things I wanted to talk about was the Joe Gallo hit. And a lot of people, I think, are confused by the Joe Gallo hit. And I did a video on it, and I got some things, and I got some comments. People are saying, do you really believe that Joe Gallo wasn't killed by Frank Sheeran? And it's like, well, yeah, I do. I think obviously people like Joe Coffey are good law enforcement people, and I definitely think they knew a lot about the mob. But I just don't think it's feasible to believe that Frank Sheeran killed Joe Gallo. Now, I guess ultimately we'll never really know, but the people that I think knew Joe Gallo best kind of proved and pointed out that it wasn't Frank Sheeran. In fact, it was more than one, which in The Irishman, they would lead you to believe, right? They believe that Robert De Niro as Frank Sheeran walked in and killed Joe Gallo, and as he walked, kind of stumbled out onto Hester and he shot him, jumped in a car, and walked away. Well, that happened, but it wasn't Frank Sheeran that did it. It was someone else. It was a guy, Carmine DiBiase, which I talked about. But yeah, I think one thing in the genre that we're dealing with now is that there are so many people that have their opinion, and there are people out there that are truly trying to rewrite history. And I've talked about that before. And I think we have to remember that we can't allow people to do that. Jeff, what's your history? What's your opinion on the Michael Franzese, Sammy the Bull sit down? Um, I don't care that much about it. I mean, I know and think it'll be interesting, but I've heard all those guys speak about the same stuff over and over again. I don't really think they knew each other when they were mob together. So, it's obviously going to draw views and people are going to like it, but I don't really care that much about those guys. Obviously we know what Michael did. He was probably, obviously integral in the gas tax scheme, and we know what Sammy did. Sammy was a big mover and shaker and a big player, but um, I don't care that much. I kind of know about that stuff already. Um, is Carmine related to the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase? I don't believe so. Not that I know. I don't know who Ted DiBiase is, but I don't know if they're related. I don't think they're related. Who is Ted DiBiase? Let me look that up. Is that like some wrestler or something? Yeah, it's a wrestler. Yeah, I don't believe they were related. No. Ted DiBiase is from Omaha, Nebraska, far from where Carmine DiBiase was from. So no, they were not related. Uh, Thanks to the couple people that are in here. I appreciate it. This is how you build the channel, as always. I can't stand how Sammy was always trying to act tough. He knew he was going to be held back. Yeah, that's true. And that's one of the things about it that I don't really care much about. It's not like they're going to get up there and fight each other. I think Michael's kind of interesting. I think they're both interesting, but I just don't care that much. I'll watch it, which ultimately is what Patrick Bet David wants. But, you know, I want to hear from like Joe Messino and people that we haven't heard from, you know. I've heard from Sammy. I know Michael's stories. How many times can Michael talk to us about the fucking gas tax scheme, right? We've heard it all before. Two epic egos colliding. Yeah, that's true, Red. Good point. If you have a comment or question about the Mafia, you want to talk about something, feel free to ask. As I said, we just finished up the Tony Corallo episode, which I'm excited for you all to hear. There's not a lot out there about Tony, so we thought it was a pretty damn good episode. Does picking Castellano's successor reflect badly on the Gambino legacy? No, because I think a lot of people want to obviously say that they don't think Paul was a good boss, but I mean, at the end of the day, he really wasn't that bad. Did he have the last couple of bad years? Yeah. I mean, he became pretty hypocritical and he had some personal problems that I think he allowed to magnify that got a little too crazy. But I think ultimately Paul was a pretty good boss. I think he had his mind in the right things. And if you're going to knock Paul Castellano as a boss, I mean, he was no real different than Tony Corallo. They both were big in unions. They were both big in racketeering. And yeah, I think Paul was actually a better boss than people give him credit for. Does it tarnish the legacy? No. Carlo was never going to pick anyone else. Carlo was huge with blood ties, and he was always going to pick his cousin. So I don't think it really does much to the lineage. I want to hear from Joe Massino too. Yeah, that would be awesome. I would love to hear it. I would love to hear it. I'd love to see what he's up to now. Cuban B mentions Tommy Lucchese. Yeah, we talked about him in tonight's episode that comes out on Wednesday. He was really integral in kind of the maturation and the growth of Tony Corallo. So definitely make sure you check that out. T Mac, was Paul Varia's crew the most feared in the city at the time? No, they were definitely a formidable crew. Were they the most feared? I wouldn't say that. Obviously, people feared Jimmy Burke. There were a lot of crews that were obviously feared. Obviously, that one. You obviously have the DeMeo crew. You had Tommy Patera and his group. You had all sorts of people that were fearful and scary. So obviously, Lucchese family had they had Anthony Castro running around. Lucchese's definitely had some tough guys for sure. Alan says, "What do you know about the Giannini crew?" Not really sure. I don't know much about the Giannini crew. I'll have to look into them a little bit. Not a crew I know much about. Elizabeth, are you familiar with the Cosa Nostra practice? No, I don't. I'm not familiar with that one. No, I've actually seen you in other uh, rooms before, so we're gonna get you out of here. A little too graphic for our kind of stuff here. Sam, did you see the sit down that is coming out? Yeah, we just talked about that. Definitely saw it. And I'll definitely check it out. It's kind of like Fear City though. Like Fear City was cool, it was interesting, but I kind of knew about that stuff. I kind of want to see stuff on people that we don't necessarily know as much about. Kind of like the show we just did on Tony Corallo, you know. Mafia History says, I want to know more about Frank Cali. Well, yeah. I think obviously he's a really interesting guy. His end was obviously very documented, with the killing and how he was killed and the lunatic that did it, which I'm going to do a video on here soon. I missed the shirtless periscopes. Okay. Well, yeah, we won't see them anymore because there's no more periscope. They were fun, though. They were fun. Was Frank Cali the boss of the Gambino crime family? No, he was not. But listen, that's what the media does. If they're high up in the mafia, they're mafia bosses. That's what the media thinks. No, the current boss of the family at that time was not Francisco Cali, though he was, a high up. He was not the boss. The current boss of the family is the same boss that it's been for a while, and I think it'll stay that. So no, he's not. He was not the boss. Could he have been a front boss? Maybe, probably, but he wasn't the boss. What else do we have here? Jeff, do I know any stories on Jackie D'Amico? Shout out to San Antonio. Shout out to San Antonio. Great place. Love that city. It's a place that I've been to. I enjoy it a lot, and I hope to get down there soon. Jackie knows D'Amico. Yeah, was obviously very close with John Gotti. Was big with John because he knew how to gamble, and John loved gambling, and Jackie would put John's bets in for him. I know he had a no-show job at a water company. He would just kind of sit around all day. You would always see him with Gotti. I mean, he was always around, always he almost acted as like an errand boy, though he wasn't an errand boy. He actually still around. No one really knows what he's been up to over the last 10 years or so. But he's an old man at this point. I mean, he's in his 80s. So uh, I've always just get a kick out of seeing D'Amico because he's always walking around. He's always hanging out with Carrazzo and Gotti, and always around. Do you know anything about Richard Fusco? Um, Not a ton. I mean, he was consigliere at one point in the Colombo crime family. They called him, I think, Richie Nerves, as far as I know. I think he died about 10 years ago. But that's all I really know. I mean, the Colombo crime family was a shit show of a family. Um, I know that I know that Fusco was big with Carmine Persico. He obviously sided with Persico. He was an old school guy. Really had been around forever. I mean, keep in mind, he like Jackie D'Amico had really seen it all. So I know he was close with John Franzese as well, as far as I know. So yeah, he passed away about 10 years ago. Why don't you ever do stories on Albanians? Well, first of all, we just haven't got to them yet. We're going to definitely do a show on the Rudai organization. We'll definitely do some stuff on Albanians for sure. There's not a ton of organized groups though with them, so there's really, I guess if you want me to do someone, you can reach out and I can talk about them. Sure. I would love to hear more about Joe Peruta. Yeah, so Joe Peruta was involved with the Gambino family. He's part of Sammy's crew in Bensonhurst. They called him the old man, and that's exactly what he was. He was old. I mean, he was born in 1929. So that just kind of shows you how old he was. According to Sammy, he loved them. He was a big part of what he did. I know he got cancer at one point. I think he beat it. He was also the guy that killed DB DiBernardo. So, yeah, he's an interesting guy. We'll probably do a show on him at some point. He died in 1986, long time ago. Really, kind of around the time when they all went away. Um, well, kind of just before that, right after John took over. Why did Sammy say Jackie Nose was dumb and that Gotti abused him? Well, I think he, as I said, was kind of looked at like as kind of John's guy, I guess, kind of his lackey, if you will, his assistant. Um, I don't know. I wouldn't say he was dumb. I didn't know him personally, but I always got a kick out of seeing him. Lansky was a brilliant financial man. What do you think happened to his fortune? Well, he lost a lot of it in Cuba. He got crushed in Cuba. In your opinion, do you think Paul Castellano would have done the time he was going to get from commission case? I always thought it was a sanctioned hit. Um, well, yeah, but either way, like, I'm not sure what you're talking about. Paul would have done the time he was going to get from the commission case. Yeah, I mean, he was going to get. They all got convicted. Plus, he had to deal with that DeMeo crew car thing. So, yeah, he was going to go to jail regardless. So, I mean, whether he died or went to jail, I guess they had to worry about him still trying to control the family from inside. Blake says, I just missed you yesterday at Hollywood, York. By the way, as you noted in your episode, Kabani Savage's daughter was tragically murdered just a few minutes from the new casino. Yeah, I know. And that's something that's really sad. She was involved with a gang killing, not in anything that he did, but yeah, you'll have to try to catch me next time. I'll be there pretty frequently. So my parents just moved to the Wrightsville area, and whenever I come up and see them or whatever, I try to try to get over to the casino. Sammy is so full of shit. You can't believe what King Rat says since Carlos Munoz. I definitely think his stories are interesting, but I definitely don't believe everything he says. It's definitely not believable. Absolutely not. Um, what else do we have here? And look, guys, thanks for the questions. I appreciate it. I'm trying to build this thing. I would love to do these on occasion. Talk about the mob. Try to get your questions answered. They're definitely great. Is Ronnie One Arm Trucchio still around? Yeah, Ronnie's still around. He's 70 years old. I know he's in Schuylkill, I believe. He's doing life. He's not going to get out. He's never coming home. He was obviously involved. If you know anything about the Rosemary and Thomas Uva thing, he was involved with that. He was also cooperated on by John A. Light. But yes, Ronnie's still around. He's up at Schuylkill, who that prison's interesting because that's where John Stanf is as well. So I'm sure they're hanging around doing their thing. Um, what else do we have? Carmen Cucci, you are out of here. I know you're a piece of shit, scumbag fuck. You're out of here. See you later. I've seen you in other videos saying I was trying to kill myself. What the hell are you talking about? Bro, I would never do that. I love myself too much to ever do that. First of all, I also saw he said that I was going to kill myself because I lost Barstool. Hey, idiot, I left. Why would I do that? Fucking internet's weird. It's a weird, weird fucking place. Um, I think the guy meant, do you think Big Paul was going to rat if he wouldn't have gotten killed? No, he wasn't going to rat. Paul was a true blue gangster. People can say he wasn't. He wasn't going to cooperate. He was old school. Brad B. Am I on Pick Central this week? Yeah, I'll be there Tuesday. You're getting that information for the first time. So, yes, I will be. I'll be there on Tuesday. Jeff, did you see the video today from Mob Talk Radio? I did. I heard it. Jeff is not happy with Gene Borello, and I think he has every right to not be happy with him. Gene's muddying around some rough waters. Gene needs to grow up a little bit. He shouldn't be doing what he's been doing. He needs to grow up. And, look, I've said before, I think Gene can be a bit interesting, but, he has a temper and he has a problem with that. And he needs to, I think, take one piece of advice from John A. Light, and that's just try to do videos and shit. Stop fucking calling people out and, threatening people and making pages up about people. And he's going to get himself in trouble. Hook says, Franzese or Gravano? Who do I like more? I don't really like either of them that much, but I guess if I had to pick, I'll go Gravano, bro. Did you hear the new OC Short story with the fight in Danbury with the Rude Organization of Five Families? Yeah. By the way, shout out to OC Shorts. Great guy. I've talked to him before. We've emailed back and forth a few times. He's a great guy. Really interesting mob channel. Go check out OC Shorts, doing his thing with the videos. I did see that. That was a couple of the guys. I definitely believe it. And he would know best. He's got some great information. I'm asking if the other bosses trusted Castellano. Yeah, I think they trusted him. I don't think they liked him, but they trusted him. Carmine Calci's definitely a piece of shit. Yes, he definitely is. Mob Talk Radio rocks. Yeah, I like Jeff. He's a good guy. Him and I talk pretty frequently. If you have other comments or questions, I'd love to hear them. Please send them in now. I think they all knew Paul got a wee implant. Not a good look. Yeah, that was something Paul should have kept to himself. That was definitely one of his weird quirks. Look, he definitely had a rough end as boss. I don't think anyone will tell you he didn't. The other thing I like about Gene is when Mob Rats exposed his accent. Yeah, I mean, Gene's an interesting character. I'll give him that. Jane Creek says, I love OC Shorts. Yeah, he's a great guy. He's definitely a great guy. But, I think when it comes to informants, I've said before, I think there's different levels of cooperators. There's the real low-level pieces of shit that we know about. There's guys that, I look at it and I say, well, I kind of understand why they cooperated. Someone like John Martorano. You had two people ratting on you for 20 years. You look at Larry Mazza. I mean, Gregory Scarpa was an informant for like 30 fucking years. I think, they're all informants at the end of the day. A rat's a rat, right? But I think there are guys that cooperate. You kind of don't blame them that much. By definition, they're rats. But there are guys that just totally fucking telling everyone just so they get out of jail, like Sam Gravano or John A. Light or whoever. But, I think there's one or two that I think I could say, you know what? Like, I'll be real. Let's just be honest with ourselves. Let's say we're in the Mafia. Let's say me and 5 of you guys are in the Mafia and, we all do the same shit. And the entire fucking time, all 4 of you are fucking informant on me. And they get something to me and say, look, we'll let you out of it. Just tell us about those guys. I mean, you fuckers were telling on me the whole fucking time. But a rat is a rat, and that's important to make clear. All right. T Mac says, "Are the Gotti's kids' father still in the mix?" I think you're talking about Carmine Agnello. I don't know. I haven't heard much about Carmine. Um, I'm going to keep that opinion to myself. I actually have some. I'm never going to talk about that. I have some inferences about those kids that I always have wanted to say, but I'm not going to ever say them. But I won't. I'll keep that to myself. Is Carmine Agnello still alive? He's still alive, definitely. I know he lives out in Cleveland. I think he still runs that scrap metal yard he had. But as far as I know, he's largely been out of prison since like 2017. I'm sure he's still doing some things though. Do I like the film Donnie Brasco? Yes, I think it's probably in my top three. Probably my top three. What else do we have here? Scarpa did more damage to Cosa Nostra than most of all these rats put together. Yeah, he definitely told on a lot of people. Scarfa was hands down the most dangerous guy in New York City history, and I don't care what anyone says. The Colombo family had all the killers. Yeah, I mean, the most dangerous people in the history of the mob: Greg Scarpa, Tommy Patera, Phil Strauss, um, Mad Sam DiStefano. There were some real dangerous people for sure. Um, Joe Watts was a feared guy for sure. You know, there were a lot of guys, but yeah, I think I think Scarpa was definitely dangerous. Did Larry Mazza testify in any of the trials aside from the Linda Vecchio trial? I got to look exactly what he testified in. Um, I believe so. Wasn't Scarpa only looking at 7 years or so? Well, I mean, he was going to die. He had AIDS. So I guess in the grand scheme of things, that is a tease, Jeff. Not nice. I can't say what I was going to say. I It has no basis. It's just a theory. It's a conspiracy theory. And I don't, I like those kids, so I'm not going to say anything negative about them. Have I ever heard about the hit crew out of Jersey called the Fist? I don't know much about that. No. What do you think about Thomas Gambino? Um, well, look, he's part of the lineage of Carlos. How could I not like him? He controlled a lot of rackets. I mean, he was a big timer. He controlled the garment district. Really took over, his father's wealth. He's got a ton of money. He grabbed all that money that his father had. I think at one point he was worth like $100 million. Still alive, I believe, as well. Pretty old. Now that's a guy I want to hear from. Thomas Gambino. He's 91 years old. That's the kind of guy I want to hear from. That's the fucking guy I want to hear from. Not fucking John Alight. That's who I want to hear from. Jeff, do you like The Godfather of Harlem? I can't stand how untrue it is. Bumpy would have done half the stuff the mob would have killed him. Exactly. It's not true. So I haven't actually seen it, so I can't comment on it. Blake Einzig says, "What do you think of the new mob channels? Frenzies, Sammy, A Light. They've blown up so quickly, and how often do you think they lie on their videos? Seem like they speak for views, not truth." Well, I think a lot of them are. I think Sammy's a guy that lies a lot. I think he does say some truth. I think John A Light says some truth. I think Michael's pretty truthful. Michael just doesn't talk about things because he's worried that he's going to get jammed up in something. I mean, they're for entertainment. I wouldn't take much of the stuff they say literally, though. Tommy got into the garment industry from his father-in-law. Well, yeah, but he got in the garment industry through his father as well. But yeah, you're right. I mean, he got into all that stuff because his father-in-law was Tommy Lucchese. I mean, all right. I don't know what I guess I'm not quite sure what you're trying to gain here, Bandit, but I guess you're one of those know-it-all guys, which we come across. You know everything about everything. So whatever you say, brother. I think Joe Watts gets out next year. As far as I know, Joe Watts is out. I think he's in a halfway house somewhere. I think Larry Mazza is very truthful. I always enjoyed him. I always enjoyed Larry Mazza. I think he was interesting. I mean, he was fucking Linda Scarpa. Good for him. Linda was hot. By the way, I did reach out to little Linda on Instagram. Just saying. You don't know the families. You're a fucking know-it-all idiot. Shut up, Bandit. No one cares about you. I hate these guys. Why don't you just come in and act like a fucking human being? You come in here and act like an asshole to everybody. We get it, you know certain things about people. Well, I don't understand what you're saying though, Bandit. Like, what are you trying to say? So are you saying that Tommy Gambino was only important because he was married to Tommy Lucchese's daughter? Is that what you're saying? What the hell are you even talking about? What? His last name was Gambino. Numbnuts. What an idiot. I love these people that go, you only read Wikipedia. Well, I mean, yeah, there are certain things about Wikipedia I do read. You're right. You caught me. But yeah, I like to read. I like to educate myself. Hey, Bandit, you want the link? You want to come on the show? If you're so smart, you can tell me what you really think. I'll send you the link if you want it. You're a tool. By the way, that's not how you spell your idiot. This is a great book. You want to come on the show, Bandit? I'll send you the link. You won't. You want to? I'll send you the link. If anyone wants to come on the show, let me know. I'll send them the link. Did Joe Watts ever testify? If not, how did he ever get out? Well, he got out because he did his time. He didn't cooperate. I don't believe that. Carlos Munoz, I was wondering what happened to you. I haven't seen you in any of the chats. Well, glad he's here. Maybe he's not in certain chats anymore. Bandit doesn't want to come on the show. What a surprise. Why would you want to come on the show? So I can put you in a fucking body bag with my opinion? That's what you want, right? You don't want that to happen, Bandit. Bandit comes in here and says that Tommy Gambino was nothing because of his father. What? What did you think about Tekashi 6ix9ine comparing himself to John Gotti? I didn't hear that. What? He said that? Where did he say that at? Wait a second. Where did he say that? Because I'll get that video up right now. Have you ever read The Five Families, Sell and Rap? Yes, I have the book. It's probably the best mob book ever written. Did I watch the new Lansky? No, I have not watched that yet. No. Wait, please tell me where I can find that video because I'll get it up right now. Holy shit. He really didn't fucking say that, did he? I know he had that fucking dumbass song called Gotti. Holy fuck. On a podcast with DJ Academics. Fuck, I gotta hear that. Tekashi 6ix9ine is a jerk off. Yeah, he is. He's a shitbag piece of shit rat fuck. Let's just keep that up. Did Joe Watts ever testify? If he didn't, how does a hitman such as himself ever see the light of day again? Because he doesn't get caught. And he took a plea bargain. I mean, there are murderers, bro, that get off that didn't get caught. But he was acquitted of the Ciccone hit, so not someone he did kill, but he was acquitted of it. So didn't matter. Yes, exactly, Sean. He's scared. What's up, Mind? Thanks for checking in. Yeah, exactly. He either didn't do it or he got off. Good lawyers, bro. The Ciccone thing happened, but he got off. Therefore, he wasn't convicted. 6ix9ine will say anything for clout, the rat bastard. Yes, he will. That's all he has at this point. He doesn't have respect. In my opinion, how many kilos per transaction would it take for a person to be called or considered a kingpin? Well, I guess it depends where you live. If you're moving kilos where I live, you're a kingpin. If you're moving kilos in New York, I don't know if you're. I feel like if you're moving kilos, you're a kingpin to me. Just saying. Now, it might be a amateur opinion, but most people aren't moving kilos. So, but yeah, in little cities, people moving kilos are kingpins. Now, let's look up the definition of kingpin. A person or thing that is essential to the success of an organization or operation. Um, Drug lord. So it doesn't specify what exactly that a kingpin has to move kilos, but I always considered someone that moves weight, particularly kilos, as kingpins. Do I have anything on Trigger Mike Coppola? Yeah. So Trigger Mike Coppola was really the mentor for Tony Salerno. He was kind of the capo de tutti capi in Harlem. He ran Harlem. He was big in the Prohibition days. He was obviously involved in the Castellamari's War. He was big in the, kind of in the Luciano family. Moved around, as I said, controlled Harlem. Was part of the 116th Street crew, ran that group, and eventually down the road he would get jammed up in a murder beef. Tony would take control of the Pullman Boy Social Club, and that would be that. And he would go on and live in Miami and things like that. Um, but yeah, interesting guy. Obviously, was uh, are you talking about Trigger Mike Coppola or who are you talking about here? Because there's two Mike Coppolas. I might have missed it. If you're talking about Trigger Mike, that's Trigger Mike. Mike Coppola now is currently in the Genovese family. I don't know who you're talking about. I just saw Mike Coppola. Uh, Michael Cigars Coppola. Okay, okay. Yeah, he's a current. I mean, as far as I know, he's currently involved. I'm not going to talk much about him, um, but yeah, but Trigger Mike was a fascinating guy, old school guy, old school guy. All right, Jeff, I like your channel. I'm going to start my own. Can I email you something in case I have some questions? Yeah, listen, man, it's really all about you. You know, experience, just doing your own thing. But yeah, I'm sure if you have a question, you can reach out. What do you know about Mikey Flat Top DeRosa? Well, I just know that he was involved indirectly with Scarpa's kid, Joey, and they had that shootout in front of the house. You know, Ronald Moran shot Scarpa, and there's a big problem. He was a drug dealer. He was working a lot with Froggy Gaillon, Ralph Gaillon's kid, and yeah, he ratted. He's doing a nice job though, I think, on the straight and narrow, as far as I've heard. I heard Greg Scarpa Jr. stopped the terror plot. Is that a rap move? Um, when it comes to terrorists, you got to do what you got to do. You know, they could blow up a fucking building or something, man. Kids could be in there, you know. So probably shouldn't talk about that too much, but yeah, he definitely did that at MCC, as far as I know. Yeah, I don't really care, Bandit. Like, go away already, bro. Like, just leave us alone, man. You're just being a dick about everything. Who cares what Angie Ruggiero thinks? Andrew Ruggiero is a fucking quack quack. What is so? Because Andrew Ruggiero didn't like. Who cares what you think? Tommy Gambino give a fuck what Andrew Ruggiero thought of him? Tommy Gambino is worth $100 million. You think he gives a fuck about what he is? Andrew Ruggiero got shelved and died alone. Watts allegedly threatened Sammy, so Gravano made up the story about being a CI. Well, but again, keep in mind, Jerry Capisci wrote that in '96 that Joe Watts may be an informant. So he wasn't the only one. Jeff, I salute you for not talking about any active members. Yeah, I just, you know, look, if there's news, I'll talk about it, but you know, I don't really too much get it, too much get into it. Just not really my thing. Did Vinny Gotti own any rackets? Yeah, I mean, he was a loan shark. I mean, he did some things. He was a drug dealer. I don't know about him doing anything real major. He was nothing more than a soldier. Um, but yeah, I don't know of him doing anything like too deep. But he sold drugs for a lot of his career. All right, we'll do a couple more. We're building a nice little group in here. Thanks for coming in and checking us out. If you have any questions about the mob or really anything, you're welcome to come in and say hello. We just ask that you be nice about it. Don't be a dickhead. Don't be Bandit, the shitbag fuckhead that he is. Um, yeah, there's one way of doing things. You come in, you act cool. It's pretty simple. Come in and act like an asshole. We're going to treat you like an asshole. Jeff, I want to give you the case against some of my cousins. All big money Albanians here in New York and international, and no violence, just big money guys. If they're current, I'm not going to necessarily bring them up too much, but I'd love to hear more about it. Tommy Gambino was an intelligent, soft-spoken gangster who gave me a job when I came home. Well, if that's true, Carlos, good for you. That just goes to show you the kind of guy that he was. Do I have emails? Yes, the sitdown777 at gmail.com. The sitdown777 at gmail.com. What is my opinion on Lenny Strallo? Lenny just passed away actually recently. Was a stand-up guy for sure. Was Pittsburgh, then became boss of Youngstown. You talk about a guy that would make anyone. It was said that at one point there was talk that he may make black guy that he was doing business with. Lenny was an interesting guy. Definitely the end of an era in Youngstown with him dying. Really controlled Youngstown. Would eventually become a witness, though. So he's a rat fuckhead. Bandit says, no wonder Barstool dropped your sorry ass. Well, they didn't drop me, and I'll be back there next week. I left. I think why do I have a feeling Wonder, whatever this guy is Carmine. We're not going to deal with you. See you later. Listen, I won't block anybody outside of people like that guy. That guy's just a piece of shit. Jeff, great show tonight. Let the haters hate. They're going to hate anyways. Good point. But there's no need to be an asshole. Do you think the A-Light brothers purposely had bad video and audio on Lee Cole's show? So it's like mirroring type of situation. No. I will say, though, I feel like when you conduct interviews, you've got to make it clear. I need you in your fucking house. I need you to have a stable internet connection because we want people to want to watch this and we want people to hear it. Now, I don't blame Lee. It sucks. Sometimes you can't get people on the right connection. But I thought he did a good job with it, either way. I don't think he really had control about their connection, but whenever I try to interview, that's why I think when you do interviews, if you can do them in person with somebody, that gives you the best, interview for sure. But yeah, I think with A-Light at this point, it's like, I don't really find his interviews to be interesting because I don't really he doesn't really tell me anything that I didn't know. So, I would probably ask him some things, but I don't know. I don't really think it moves the needle that much, personally. Alan Piskak says, please no Lee Cole shit here. Yeah, no, nothing said here about it. Be respectful. Go be a jerk off on someone else's channel. Exactly. Elite rambled on way too long about nonsense, trivial bullshit. Yeah. I mean, that's sometimes what he does, though. Maybe Joe the German should took Willie Boys Johnson's place. I don't think. He's not a rat. I don't believe that. Tom Lokenauer says it would move your subscribers. I don't know. I don't think Lee really got much out of it. I think he got like 100 subscribers, which is cool. Lee did a good interview. Lee and I are on even footing. I mean, Lee said some things about me, and it is what it is. I have no issue with him. You're free to do whatever content you want. Yes, exactly, Bubblegum Gangster. We've all heard him say stuff, so there's really nothing else to talk about. Elite doubled down on the Castano hit insight. Unreal. He was one of 10 guys that knew. He didn't know that. Come on. Why the hell would they tell him? You think they're going to tell associates about that? They probably told 3 or 4 people. The people that knew about it were fucking Gravano, Gotti, you know, Jimmy Fiala probably because he was in the restaurant, and the shooters. No one else. John Alite didn't fucking know about it. I'll go down and I don't believe that. I'll never believe that. I'll never fucking believe that. Down the road, I do want to talk a little bit more about the drug game and all that kind of stuff because I think it's so fascinating where we are in America with, we look at prohibitions and like we saw in the 20s when prohibition happened with alcohol, it led to the creation of illicit activities, particularly the mafia, right? And we look at it today, like we look at our cities and we say, why the fuck is there so much crime? And we ask ourselves, where would we be if we took away the prohibition on drugs and we said, okay, well, people are doing them anyway, but we have to eliminate the black market for drugs because that's where all the violence comes from for the most part. That's where all the petty violence comes from people stealing stuff to buy drugs. What if we eliminated that and we said, you know what? People are doing this anyway. So why don't we just make it legal and let them do it? And hopefully when they do it, they'll see everyone else that is around them doing it. Well, they're going to rehab and everything's being figured out. And we cut down on street crime and all the crazy shit going on. We take out the black market. There's no more black market for it. When are we going to realize that prohibition on things makes crime happen? I don't know. It's something that I want to delve into and talk more about at some point. What else do we have here? You were very intelligent. Thank you. Appreciate that. I enjoy your show when you do it this way. Thank you, Jesse. Make sure you check out my podcast, though, the Sit Down, an organized crime podcast. You can check it out wherever you get your podcast, Spotify, Google Pods, iTunes, wherever. Check it out. Lee got almost 1,000 new subscribers, then lost them within a day. I wonder if he got hacked. Yeah, I don't know. You have to ask him. I'm all for freedom. Like you can overdose on Big Macs or smoke 10 packs a day. Who cares? But if someone wants to throw their life away with junk, well, I mean, but again, like, why is that my decision to tell them what they can and can't do? I don't know. I mean, but they're never going to do any of this because the war on drugs is big money for everyone involved. The police would have nothing to do. But you know what the police could do? They could start doing retroactive investigation on real criminals, rapists, murderers, armed robbers, big bad people, the ones that are actually committing crimes, not fucking petty drug pushers and drug users. But privatizing prisons, creating the American gulag the way we have, and putting the handcuffs on our own citizens is big money. So it will never stop. The drug war is never ending. Richard Nixon began the drug war as an excuse to target his political enemies, blacks and hippies. Exactly. And the drug war at this point is a war on the poor. That's all it is. And now it's affecting white and black communities. It's affecting all communities. If we eliminated the war on drugs, all these murders that go on, these shootings, look at the 70 shootings that are in Chicago every weekend. I bet 68 are because of drugs. Maybe 1 or 2 aren't. Maybe someone just is an asshole to somebody else. But it's mostly about drugs. The drug trade has destroyed this country in every sense of the word. And how many people have been put in prison because of it? Richard P. says, did it work for Amsterdam? I don't know about Amsterdam, but Portugal did it, and it's done wonders. So, yeah, it would work. But it never will happen here because we're too greedy. I'm ever going to cover the Canadian Mafia. We'll do some of the cities for sure. Rizzuto's for sure. They would make drugs legal if they could produce it. Alcohol, tobacco, and pills are illegal. Tough debate. Yeah, I mean, again, I don't think it's a real debate because it's never going to happen. But it's interesting to think about. I think legalized drugs could work if you have a media or some type of a system. Instead of promoting it, you discourage it, including movies or media in general. Well, look, I mean, you would have to obviously put all the money you're wasting on the war on drugs and put it back into. And I think when we talk about defunding the police, we're not going to defund the police. We're going to defund the way we police. Okay. So, not defunding the police, we're taking money that we're wasting with the drug war and putting that back into the communities. We're going to ramp up the policing because we're going to get violent criminals off the street. Those are the people that are really doing problems in our community. That's the problem. We need to defund this type of policing, not police. You get it? We're not defunding the police. We're taking money out of operations that the police are doing, i.e., the drug war, and putting that into communities. And we're going to turn these communities inward. And we're going to make the fucking housing better. And every street's not going to have vacants on it. And we're going to put jobs into the community. We're going to bring industry back to places like Baltimore and Philadelphia and Chicago because industry has completely left those communities where the only legalized way of capitalism is the drug trade. We got to stop that. We got to take it all out. We got to bring real industry back. It'll never happen, though. The war on drugs is one of the biggest rackets the government has going. The one of, I would say it is. The thing about legalizing drugs is the cartels will then be legal. No, they won't. There won't be need for cartels. Why would you go buy drugs from? Why would cartels be needed? You would just give drugs away. You don't need cartels anymore. So the drugs wouldn't make any money. The drug cartels. Have I ever heard of a town in Albania called Lazaret? 1.4 billion in marijuana. Yes, I have heard of that area. Big area for marijuana. Can we get a podcast on Neil Delacroce? Yeah, I think we're going to do him next week, actually. Not this week, coming the week after. Yeah, no problem, Carlos. Hey, also, guys, I want to tell you about something. If you enjoy the Mafia, I want to show you something. I got something that I think all of you guys would enjoy. I'm going to share my screen here because I want to tell you about a group that I'm promoting, and I think you'll like it. It's called Omerta Mia. It's a clothing line, and I'm sharing my screen right now. You can get some really cool stuff there, whether it's shirts, prints, coffee mugs, headwear, whatever. Look at these shirts, really cool shirts. Tell me this isn't a great shirt. Defund police informants. I love that. You got the Intimidate All Witnesses, which is a pretty cool one. I have this one. I love this one. The Omerta definition. Pretty cool. You can get all this stuff at omertamia.com. And if you use my promo code SITDOWN30, or sorry, SITDOWN20, you're going to get 20% off your order. So sit down 20 at checkout. You're going to get 20% off your order. So go check that out. I think you guys would like some of this stuff. It's really good stuff. The material is great. I have a lot of these shirts. They do a great job of Merta Mia. So go check that out. I think you guys might like some of this stuff. They've got some cool stuff, some cool accessories, stop glorifying rats, all that kind of stuff. Definitely some cool stuff. So go check out Omerta Mia. Come on. Tell me you don't like that shirt. Great shirt. Look at that. Come on. Go get that. Stop glorifying rats. Use my promo code SITDOWN20. Get 20% off right now. So go check that out. And look, support me. I'm getting a little something out of it. So support us. Support me. omertamia.com. Promo code SITDOWN20. All right. What else do we have? Do we have any other questions? I would love to answer a few more, and then we'll get on out of here. It's about 11:18 here on the East Coast. Tomorrow, I don't got a ton going on. I got to do a couple calls for my day job, and then on Tuesday, I'm going to New York. I'm going up to New York to do some Barstool stuff. So we're working. We're getting closer. We're trying to get back there and figure everything out. So we'll do that and figure it all out. Anything else tonight? Why no super chats? I'll get the super chat thing going. I didn't even think about that. We'll get it going at some point. I'm not really on here for money, but it would be cool. I'd put it back into what I'm doing. So we'll have to get that up at some point. I didn't even think about doing that. So yeah, as we grow the channel, maybe we'll start doing that. I'll give it to my producer that produces my show. One of them shirts on the site says "Intimidate Witnesses." Yeah, you should go get it. Use my promo code Sit Down 20. What do you think, Carlo? Why do you think Carlo didn't make Neil boss? Because Neil wasn't family, and Carlo was big on blood ties. Paul was. Paul had been around forever. He was loyal. He was capable. Not that Neil wasn't, but Paul had something Neil didn't. He was close through blood. So yeah, that's why. Anything on Gino Farina? Um, I don't know. I'm not sure who that is. I never heard of him. Never heard of him. All right, guys. I'm going to jump on out of here. Did I see the FBS interview with Patrick Borriello? No, I haven't. I'll probably check that out after I get out of this. I did not see that yet. I wasn't around last night, so um, I will. I will check that out for sure. I know he was in Bronx Tale, I believe, as a child. So yeah, I'm going to check that out. Thanks for watching. Thanks for participating. Some of you guys in here, I appreciate it. Good questions. We'll definitely try to do some more content here down the road, and check out my sit down shorts that I'm doing on my channel. We highlight some different gangsters, some smaller guys that maybe you haven't heard of. We talk about them, so check all that out and check out my podcast, the Sit Down Organized Crime Podcast. I'm out. See you all later.